everyone, you're sailing on Olive's Ark, and today we're going to be talking about rabbit pellets and if they're okay to feed your rabbit. Hi everyone, it's me, Taylor, and we're here with Billy. He's my rabbit, and we're gonna get down to just the true facts on are pellets okay to feed your rabbit. And so we might see him hopping around here and there today, but mostly he will be out of camera. But I just wanted to show him to you because he's so cute. All right, Billy, we'll see you later. So what are the thoughts on pellets? To be completely truthfully honest, pellets are not evil. Pellets are not a bad thing. It's just there's some rules you need to follow if you're gonna give your rabbit pellets. And that's just the honest truth. People, for whatever reason, really hate pellets. And so let's just start with first the difference between one of those like fun looking little mixture diets and just a straight pelleted diet. So here I've got one of those fun mixture diets. This is for gerbils and hamsters. So I do not feed this to my rabbit. This was for my hamster, to be clear. But I don't have this for my rabbit, so this is the best I could show you. But I just want to show you what I mean. So these are like those mixed diets you'll see, or sometimes they'll be like, oh, it's a natural diet. And there's pellets in there, like you can see them. But the point of this is the worst. This is even worse than a pellet of what you can feed your rabbit. And the reason is because they're whole bits. And usually the stuff they put in this is really sweet, and because it's whole bits, rabbits can actually pick out what they want to eat and they'll leave behind the stuff they don't want, which is usually the healthier things. And so it's just like a human. If I gave you a plate of food and there was, I don't know, there was like broccoli and a piece of chicken and a brownie on that plate, just those three things. Most people, or let's even think of kids, right? Pets are kind of like kids. So most kids are gonna skip the broccoli and they're just gonna fill up on the chicken and the brownie. But the broccoli has all these nutrients and it's very healthy. And so when you're feeding your rabbits these mixes, essentially you're giving them that plate option. Here's your choices, and your rabbit's going, I'm gonna only eat the stuff that I really like, and they're leaving out all of the broccoli, right? So this is why I don't recommend this, but the better choice, if you're gonna feed something pre-made, is actually pellets. So pellets get a bad rap, and I don't know why. I think it's just because they look bland and look boring, but this is what a pellet is. A pellet is taking everything that is healthy for a rabbit, grinding it down and making it into like one shape. It's just like kibble for your dog. People are okay feeding kibble to their dogs for most part. Nobody bats an eye at dry food for a cat, but oh my gosh, ban all of the pellet dry diets for rabbits and rodents. I don't know why. With the pellets, it's actually a better choice because what you're doing is you're eliminating that idea that rabbits can pick out only the stuff they like, which will be the sweet and bad stuff. So let's go back to that example where I fed the kid those three choices. It was the broccoli, the chicken, and the brownie, and they were all separate on the plate. So now instead what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blend the chicken and the broccoli together to make a paste of some sort, and then I'm gonna magically bake the brownie out of that chicken broccoli batter. And I know this sounds gross, but think of me as like a professional nutritionist, and what I've basically done is I did bake a brownie out of chicken and broccoli mush, but I then covered it up with nice little sweeteners and other flavors that kids enjoy. And basically, you're eating a brownie that you don't even taste that other stuff in. But guess what the kid's getting? The broccoli and the chicken and the brownie all together. They're eating everything in one condensed piece of food, which means they can no longer pick out the broccoli and they're getting all nutrients in something they enjoy. That's what this is. These are pellets, and I do want to warn you, I'm going to talk about this more in a second, but you do want to pick a certain kind of pellet. I tilted my camera down because Billy keeps coming up to me and I think it's just really cute and I want you to see him. And this is why pellets aren't bad. It's the same thing as those kind of fun mixes, but actually they're better formulated and rabbits can't pick out certain ingredients. And if it's an ideal pellet, which I'll explain what makes one ideal in a second, it's going to include everything like hay, like minerals, like oils, and other essential things that they wouldn't be getting if you were giving them the choice. This is the one I get, and this is the one I think is the best on the market. These are the Sherwood Pet Health rabbit pellets. They make a few kinds. You're going to see a blue bag like this one or a red bag. The red bag I find is a little too rich of a diet. This is basically like hay in pellet form, and as you can see, Billy loves this stuff. Billy. And I think one reason they get a bad rap is because it's in the past, a pelleted diet was kind of a cheat way to feed your animal. It was a way to just kind of sustain its life but not really help it thrive. And we've come to a point now in our lives where you can help your rabbit thrive on a pelleted diet. Now here's the caveats why you can't just rely and go out and buy any pellet you want. First of all, there are still pelleted diets out there being formulated that are just there to maintain a rabbit's life. You, as a pet owner, want to feed your rabbit something that will help it thrive. And so there's a couple choices, but I'm just going to tell you this one because it's the only one I have experience with. It's the one I did the most research on, the one that has a lot of good reviews. And the reason I choose this brand and bag specifically is because it's a hay-based diet. And if you don't know about rabbit diets, like 80 to 90% of it all day, every day, they should be eating hay. And this is also why you can't only rely on pellets. Although pellets are not bad, this is not the only thing you should be feeding your rabbit. So the way I see it is this is a supplement. It's not a bad thing, it's not something you have to avoid, it's just a supplement, okay? That's the way I see it, honestly, and this is why I don't want people to just hate on pelleted diets, because many people feed their rabbits pellets, but it's in conjunction with a 100% like hay on stock all the time. So what I do is I mix the two together. So this is it's a small bag of hay. This is meadow hay. It's kind of like Timothy, but it's a little more on the sweeter side. So this is like the small bag because I'll mix it into the Timothy as a treat. And I could talk about hay mixes another day. But in general, this is something you should have on call all the time. Just Timothy hay, Timothy hay, Timothy hay all the time. If your rabbit is an adult, Timothy hay should always be on supply. Your rabbit should never be without it. So that's going to be the main staple of the diet. But for me, what I do is I also feed these pellets about 3 times a week. I'll just grab a small handful and plop it into the enclosure with Billy. I also do feed herb and veggies also throughout the week. 3 days a week, so it's almost basically every other day it's pellet, veggies. And I think that just gives the rabbit the best variety. And like I said, anything that might be lacking in nature, it's gonna be in here because this is a formulated diet. The nutrients have to be in here. Another negative association that happens along with pelleted diets is people think that they can only feed the pellets. And so even if you get the right pellets, you still have to also have hay available for your rabbits. You can't just buy these Sherwood pellets, feed that every day like a cup, and think your rabbit's full and happy. Your rabbit still needs access to hay at all times. And I know hay seems really like flimsy and brittle, and it's not like it's a hard block of wood, but eating that hay constantly all day actually does keep their teeth worn down. And so if you are only feeding pellets, the teeth are not going to be as worn down as they should be because the rabbit doesn't have the opportunity to be munching on hay so much. And so the last thing I want to talk about is just how do you know which one to pick? Like, how did I know to get this one? The number one factor to consider is the amount of hay that's in the pellet. You want Timothy hay to be in there by far more than anything else. Another thing to consider when choosing a pelleted food, besides the hay content and the way you could tell how much hay is in there, is look at the fiber content. All brands should tell you what percentage of fiber is in their pellets, and if they don't, that might be one to skip because that's a little shady, honestly. Your brand, whatever you choose, should be completely transparent, have it on the bag of what it is. And so my rule is it should be above 20%. If you buy a pelleted diet for your rabbit and the fiber content is below 20%, that is too low. That means there's not enough hay. This is too rich of a diet. Your rabbit will not have those solid golden poops that are so good. And Sherwood, the one I have, has a 24% fiber guarantee, and it even goes higher than that, just depending on the batch and the bag that you bought and the way it was mixed and stuff like that. But so I think that's the two things to look for, is that it's Timothy hay based. Alfalfa is okay in trace amounts for adults, but alfalfa should not be the bulk of it. So Timothy hay by far the biggest ingredient, and that the fiber content's above 20%. If you can hit both of those check marks, you are well on your way, but I do encourage you to do a little bit of research on your own before deciding and picking something for you and your rabbit. And now you know, pellets are not evil. Hay should be on supply all the time, and that's what makes pellets not evil, because it's just like a little snack basically in between. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments and I can answer you there. And if I get a ton of questions, maybe I'll make a part 2 video talking about the hay mixes I make to keep that on supply and mixed up for my rabbit and what the difference is between the different hays. Also, if you're not already, please subscribe. It means a lot to me, and it just helps grow the channel and helps me know, people are interested in what I make. So subscribe, like this video specifically if you like rabbits and things like that. And don't forget, I do post every Friday, so I will see you a week from today, and have a great week. Bye!